Hello there folks, Kirk here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. My sons and I are going to go ahead and lath this small addition, but before I do I want to explain something. I get this every once in a while, once every 2 months sometimes more. When I first got here to look at this, they had quite a few layers of paper and it just went behind the steps. I asked them, what do you plan on doing with those stairs there? And they said they wanted to tile it. So I had to inform them, well, the paper, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 10 layers of paper, it won't work. You have to go with a step flashing and preferably solder each joint. Now, I told her, if you don't know any fellows that do it, I have several fellows I know that know how to do it. Anyway, they did have a guy in mind, and he said he can come out and prefab each stair, and it's best to do it while you're on the job because every stair can be a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch off. The fellow who did this, okay, he prefabbed each step and he soldered all his joints. I'm not a real big fan of using caulking, even polyurethanes under these circumstances. What I wanted to point out though is now he did such a nice job, the fellows who come to do the membrane, and they asked me, what would you use? And I said, there's about 20 different products. I'd probably use a Vicor, where it's a peel and stick. And what you do is, say like the Vicor is about this length here, you etch the metal. When we get done, they etch the metal. They can use muriatic acid to etch this or wire brushes. Then they clean the stairs real good with air, and they just roll it. They start from the bottom and roll that membrane up, and it'll adhere to this flashing well. It'll almost weld itself to this if it's cleaned properly. And then the mesh will go on that, the grout, and lastly the tile. They're not sure today or probably next week or next month what kind of tile they want to use, whether it's stone, brick, block, rock. So I said, no worries. What we'll do is we'll just take our stucco down to here. It's a 1930s house, and all the rest of the houses are done that way. If they had an exact spot, we could drip it out like this. It doesn't look pretty, but if we knew exactly what they wanted, we could do that. I want to point out one last thing. This fella here who did the flashing, all his joints, notice they're tight. This is some of the best I've seen. The last job we did, the fellas rounded each one off, and it's really tough for anybody to watertight it if you're going to round these off. So the guy here, my hat's off to him, he did a fabulous job. It's just exactly what we want, both sides. He just did a super nice job. I'll put his number in my description when I do this because top notch. Anyhow, we're going to get started lathing. I just thought I'd point this out because we do encounter this quite often, and the folks who own the house, they kept saying, don't you have any videos on how this is supposed to look? And I don't. So here's our first one. Anyhow, my name is Kirk. I'm with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Thank you folks for watching. And as usual, we'll see you on the next tip.